So yeah, second track on the project is called The Rock, and this one, wow, right, well, I've come out of all of that stuff with like the copyright theft and everything like that, and the whole pub situation and everything like that, and then I needed somewhere else to live. So, you know, one of the person who's like a brethren of mine, but also I happened to get things off, you know, offered for me to stay with him for a while until I got myself sorted, and that ended up being probably one of the most eye-opening and one of the most sort of surreal situations that I've ever been in, because it turned out that he was a person that was recovering from taking crack. I've known this person for years, but I never knew that he was actually taking this kind of drug. So when I moved in with him, I ended up seeing firsthand how someone, you know, deals with trying to come off or come away from a drug like that and stuff. So I'm seeing the mood swings, I'm seeing the sort of outbursts, and you know, because he's going through so much at this point in time, but he's also still having to deal with, you know, the things that come with being the type of person that he is, being, you know, a dealer, basically. So he's still having people running in and out of his gaff on a regular basis, but he's trying to deal with coming off this drug. So I'm seeing him like play two different roles at the same time. He's playing up to his point. He's the big I am, and you know what I mean, like, you know, he's putting on this persona and this facade, do you know what I mean, to make out to everybody that he's cool, everything's crisp. But on the other side of it, you know, people are realizing like what he's having to deal with. People are breaking in, do you know what I mean? I had to fight a few people that have broken in a couple of times, do you know what I mean, and try and get them out of the gaff. And at the same time, he's like, you know, sort of half there, half not, you know, dealing with taking morphine or whatever, to deal with the withdrawal symptoms and stuff. I think that's heroin there, so scratch that. But you know, he's topping up with other stuff, do you know what I mean, to compensate for the fact that he can't have that, you know. And we all do it, like if you're giving up smoking, you end up eating more. If you try to give up drink, you end up, you know, smoking more cigarettes, or you know, we always end up replacing something with something else and that. But you know, I'm trying to find the job. I find the next job. I'm coming home from work, and I can hear him like screaming and shouting at either himself or whoever else is in the house. And then I get inside the house, and the place is absolutely trashed. Like the gaff is smashed to smithereens, and I'm therefore then realizing, right, okay, so this is why every time I come and check you, do you know what I mean, you've never got anything in your gaff. You've always got broke down old like TV sets and stuff like that. But my man's got money, do you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, this isn't making any sense, but this is why, do you know what I mean? Like, I always questioned about him, but I didn't actually question him. I started seeing the reasonings behind them and stuff, and I'm trying to help him out. I'm trying my hardest, like, no, but I don't think about that. Just calm down, man. Just like let's listen to some music, because he's got a massive like record collection just full of gems, like old jazz records and soul and Motown and stuff like that. So we connected on that side as well. Like we had that in common, just going through records. But even that wasn't able to calm him down, and you know, it was madness. It was absolute madness. Like trying to, you know, be a friend to somebody who you'd known for years, but you weren't a friend to him. He was just a person that like dealt with this, and he had this bravado about him, and he was your best mate. Come and check him, he's got this and he's got that, and you know, he can hook you up and all that. But you know, that song, oh, Pusher Man, that instantly springs to mind. If anyone knows about that track, Pusher Man, do you know, I'm your pusher man, do you know what I mean? Like, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about there. Like, yeah, it was mad, but it was a brethren at the same time as well. Like I'd got into some sticky situations, really hairy situations where I'm facing off 5 people, do you know what I mean, because they want to call me this, that or the other, or because of the colour of my skin, or because they know that I do selling this, that and the other and everything, do you know what I mean. And he's turned up with brethrens in the car, dealt with the situation with me, or he's turned up on his own, dealt with the situation with me. So he had my back, do you know what I mean. But then to see him like this, and I'm catching him right at the point where he's at breaking point, like it's either he perseveres through this or he goes back and he has a blast, do you know what I mean, and hits the rock. Do you know what I mean? And I'm at that point where he's trying to deal with this whole situation. His mind's all over the place. He's got paranoia because people are breaking in. He doesn't know who to trust, who's telling people, well, like, this is what's going on and stuff. Then he's, why? And for a 25-year-old that had never come across that, do you know what I mean, before in his life, why? It was a situation to be in, man. It was a situation to be in. And I ended up just leaving him. No, I've got to think about myself, and I've just got to get out of this gaff. And as soon as I had enough money, you know, from either working jobs or selling whatever I'm selling to like raise enough cash to get a deposit on a gaff, do you know what I mean, then I just got out of there, do you know what I mean. I just got straight out of there. Like, I don't know how he is from that point on, like so many years later. Like, we never spoke afterwards because he felt as if I had abandoned him after he took me in and gave me refuge after I was going through what I was going through. But it was a hard situation to be in, man. It was an extremely hard situation to be in. And, you know, the main thing that I can take away from that, you know, like being so many years older now, was the fact of, you know, we need to change our perceptions and how we see people with addiction. Because as much as I was going through all that, I didn't know what to do and what was going on or anything like that. I didn't really know how to handle it. I'm still looking at someone who I've known for years, really and truly, and like kind of respected him. Do you know what I mean? I started seeing him as like Pookie out of New Jack City. Do you know what I mean? The crackheads in them kind of movies and shit like that. But that's the first time I'd ever seen a crackhead or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Just calling him a crackhead straight away, like, my man smokes crack, he's a crackhead. So, I mean, regardless of who it is, and that kind of needs to change, really, because, you know, really, I feel looking back, I could have done a lot more to actually help him. As much as, you know, it was coming out of one bad situation and seemingly going into another bad situation, it wasn't necessarily me that was going through it. I was just seeing it happen, and now that's a friendship that's completely severed now. That bridge is burned. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, as much as I may have had stuff going on, I was quite selfish in the way that I dealt with it, and I just ended up running off, like secretly saved up enough money, and, you know, got out of there as soon as I possibly could. And ultimately, he was helping me. He was helping me. He was giving me another place to stay when I'd had to come out of, do you know what I mean, the pub where I was in. He like helped me make, do you know what I mean, the broke down PC, do you know what I mean, that I started making music again on. Do you know what I mean? He helped me in a lot of ways, and, you know, I was quite selfish in the way that I dealt with it, and I just ended up just abandoning him, really. So the perception that we have on addiction, or seeing someone who's dealing with addiction, that does need to change. We need to be a bit more compassionate, do you know what I mean, and also not be hypocritical, because I came out of there, do you know what I mean, and went into another situation where my own addiction was getting me in trouble. Do you know what I mean? But you'll hear about that next week on the next Track by Track.